If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to pray on, pray on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to pray on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to pray on, pray on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to pray on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to walk on, walk on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to walk on. If we want hope on this world today, then every day we've got to work on, work on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to work on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to move on, move on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to move on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to march on, march on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to march on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to teach on, teach on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to teach on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to sing on, sing on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to sing on, sing on, sing on, sing on, sing on, sing on, to sing on, sing on. We've got to sing on, sing on, sing on, sing on.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Silver Spring. My name is Sydney Alexander. I am this morning's worship associate, and my pronouns are she, they. I'd like to welcome all guests and visitors in the congregation today. Linda Barrett is our welcoming captain today. Linda is here to answer your questions about our congregation, both for those here in the sanctuary and those attending service on Zoom. Please also remember to wear your mask at all times while inside the church as a part of our welcome to one another. This morning, we continue our sermon series on the theme of courage, and today's service is all about the courage to hope. About halfway through the service, children will be invited to leave the sanctuary to go play on the playground if they wish. Babies and children of all ages are always welcome in the sanctuary during service, but we also have a nursery for children ages 6 months through 5. Each Sunday, we broadcast the service live on Zoom for those who aren't able to join us in person. We take time to greet one another. We will begin the greeting to those on Zoom. Everyone here in the sanctuary, please turn to the camera on your right and wave to those virtually. We'll just wait for them to show up. Where are our people? Oh, okay, my fault. I have moved ahead. Now, if you're joining us by Zoom, it's your turn. Please turn on your camera so we can see you and wave to those in the sanctuary. Hello, everyone. Great to see you. Good morning. The third way we greet our neighbors is for those on Zoom to greet one another in the chat, and those here in the sanctuary to get up and say hello to each other. In a minute or two, the music will start, and that's our cue to go back to our seat and start the opening hymn.
Marquez says, "It is now when we are called as witnesses of the world to mend it, to change its course, to restore it. It is now when we are called to act on our values, not to hide, not to fear, but to be bold and loud. It is now that we are called to continue our fight for justice, to organize, to speak up. It is now. Let us gather Let us give each other courage. Let us worship. Good morning, everyone. I am Reverend Kristin Grassel Schmidt. My pronouns are she, her, and I am minister of this congregation. It's now time to light our chalice, symbol of our free faith, and reaffirm our congregational commitment. Please rise in body or in spirit. Please join me in saying the words on the screen. May this light warm our hearts with love and caring and guide us in the ways of truth. As we gather here for worship, we pledge ourselves to the endless search for truth, to the right of each to believe as mind, heart, and conscience dictate, to accept the responsibilities this freedom commands, and to implement our belief in the essential worth and dignity of every human being. Won't you please be seated and join in singing our chalice song? If I have any kids here, anyone young or young at heart who wants to come up and join me in sitting here on the step, I could use your help in telling today's story. Today's story is Pandora's Box. So as people make their way up to the front, I will begin telling the story. A long, long time ago, before people or animals roamed the earth, there was a god named Zeus. And Zeus lived at the top of a mountain, and he was the god of fire and lightning. And our story today picks up after Zeus asked two other gods, Epimetheus, the god of afterthought, and Prometheus, the god of forethought, to create all of the creatures of the world. Now, our story today is not about how Epimetheus created all of the animals and gave each of them their own special skill and form of protection, or how Prometheus took his time creating humankind and then was horrified to discover by the time he was done that Epimetheus had already given away all of the forms of protection. There was nothing left for humanity. Our story is not even about how Prometheus then went and stole fire from Zeus to give it to humans so they would have a form of protection, or how this action made Zeus very, very angry. Our story this morning picks up after that, when Zeus figured out a way he would get revenge, okay? He would get revenge on Prometheus for stealing the fire and on humanity for taking it. Zeus was not a very forgiving god, was he? Zeus created a beautiful woman named Pandora. Okay? And the gods gave Pandora the gifts of beauty and wisdom, kindness and generosity, and maybe most importantly for this story, curiosity. Pandora was very curious. Almost like Curious George. Now, Prometheus, who had the power to see the future, warned Epimetheus to be wary of any gift from Zeus, because Zeus was still angry about the whole fire thing. But Epimetheus loved Pandora the very moment he met her, so he married her anyway. Interesting to me that in this story, whether Pandora wanted to marry him is not even part of that story, but that's a whole other sermon, okay? That's a whole other sermon series. So anyway, as a wedding present, Zeus gave Pandora a beautiful box, probably more beautiful than this one, but this is the one that I had. Our box, okay? He gave it to her as a wedding present, but he said, you can never open it. What kind of wedding present is that? Okay? But Pandora, remember, she had been created to be curious. So she didn't stand a chance. She took the box and she held it. She shook it. She even smelled it, but she couldn't figure out what could be inside. I wonder what was inside. Do any of you know this story? You might know this story. Okay. Eventually, she couldn't take it anymore. Her curiosity got the better of her. And so very slowly, she took the top off the box, and suddenly, all sorts of things flew out. Can you open these up? Stand up and hold them up for people to see what they were. I think it's that part.
Yes, absolutely.
So we've got hunger, cruelty, poverty, sickness, jealousy, death, anger. Oh, and there's one more. Hang on. And hate. This box that Zeus gave Pandora let all of these awful, awful things into the world. And Pandora was horrified. She screamed and slammed the lid down back on the box. Whatever would the people do with all of these terrible things in the world? The only form of protection they had was fire. It wouldn't stand a chance against some of these things. But she noticed that the lid on the box hadn't totally closed properly. So she went to close it again, and she noticed there was one thing that was left in the box. One final thing came out of that box. What do you think it was? Yes, it was hope. There at the very bottom, the last thing that was in the box was hope. Now, Zeus may have been happy about Pandora opening her box, setting his final punishment in motion, but humanity was not happy. The world now had terrible evils in it, evils that still float around causing harm and suffering today. Things would never be the same, but now the people also had the one thing they needed to keep going anyway. They had hope. There are a lot of hard things in our world today, just as there have been since Pandora opened her box, but we also have hope. Let us now enter into a moment of quiet together, grateful for the sounds of new life around us.
When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Spirit of life, source of all, to this beautiful place, to this hallowed time, and in the midst of this kindred company, we bring hearts grateful for the blessings of life and broken for all of life's suffering. We hold in our hearts leaders in every nation who are struggling to discern how to respond to all manner of crises, people displaced by war, climate change, political repression. In times such as these, it can be hard to find where our gratitude, where our joy, where our hope has gone. And yet nurturing these three, gratitude, joy, and hope, is the most powerful practice we have in resisting pessimism and apathy. So this morning, let us choose to savor the world as well as try to save it, to remember the goodness in a world fraught also by evil. We refuse to allow anger and fear to barricade themselves within us. We make time and space in our lives and in our hearts to count our blessings and give thanks. We give thanks for the joy of finding and abiding with this faith community, for kindnesses big and small when we least expect them, for the coming of the autumn and winter holidays, for the endless opportunities life gives us to share our blessings, our wealth, our skills and passions with the world. Lead us, great Spirit of love, into deeper lives of deeper gratitude, deeper compassion, deeper mercy, deeper hope. Fill our hearts with hope, with thirst for justice and hunger for righteousness. Help us be those in and with and through whom our world is transformed into one where we all have enough and all are valued. These and all things we pray for love's sake. Amen. Blessed be.
We have a truly incredible reading this morning by Aurora Levins Morales, and it is titled Vahafta. Our reading was written by a disabled, chronically ill, community-supported writer, historian, artist, and activist. To read more of her poetry, there is a website that we could get to people, I think. Say these words when you lie down and when you rise up, when you go out and when you return, in times of mourning and in times of joy. Inscribe them on your doorposts, embroider them on your garments, tattoo them on your shoulder, teach them to your children, your neighbors, your enemies. Recite them in your sleep, here in the cruel shadow of empire. Another world is possible. Thus spoke Prophet Roque Dalton. Altogether, they have more death than we, but altogether, we have more life than they. There is more bloody death in their hands than we could ever yield unless we lay down our souls to become them, and then we will lose everything. So instead, imagine winning. This is your sacred task. This is your power. Imagine every detail of winning, the exact smell of summer streets in which no one has been shot, the muscles you have never unclenched from worry, gone soft as a newborn skin. The sparkling taste of food when we know that no one on earth is hungry, that the beggars are fed, and that the old man under the bridge and the woman wrapping herself in thin sheets in the back of a car, and the children who suck on stones, nest flying under a flock of roofs that keep multiplying their shelter. Lean in with your being towards that day when the poor of the world shake down a rain of good fortune out of the heavy clouds and justice rolls down like water. Defend the world in which we win as if it were your child. It is your child. Defend it as if it were your lover. It is your lover. When you inhale and exhale, breathe the possibility of another world into the 37.2 trillion cells of your body until it shines with hope. Then imagine more. Imagine that rape is unimaginable. Imagine that war is a scarcely credible rumor. That the crimes of our age, the grotesque inhumanities of greed, the sheer astounding shamelessness of it all, the vast fortune made by stealing lives, the horrible normalcy came to have. Unimaginable to our heirs, the generations of the free. Don't waver. Don't let despair sink in its sharp teeth into the throat with which you sing. Escalate your dreams. Make them burn so fiercely that you can follow them down any dark alleyway of history and not lose your way. Make them burn clear as a starry drinking gourd over the grim fog of exhaustion and keep walking. Hold hands, share water, keep imagining so that we, the children of our children's children, may live. Amen.
So I just realized we forgot to include the children's recessional in the service today. Sorry, folks. Hopefully it's like the one mistake in the quilt, right? Like every service needs one. Okay, so Michael, could you come up and lead the children's recessional? Thank you. We haven't been doing it very long. I'm still learning it, so okay, thanks.
Our time together is sacred, and now it's time to run. The will is being together. You're always right here in my heart.
Years ago, a colleague of mine struck up a friendship with a drug dealer. I met Reverend McBride when he was doing organizing work with other clergy in California. Reverend McBride was a pastor in East Oakland, where he moved specifically because he felt called to be part of the community he was working to transform. And he used to see a guy on the corner across from his house every single day selling drugs. And finally, one day, Reverend McBride went over and introduced himself and told the guy that he was worried about him. The pastor asked if he wanted to get together sometime. So the two wound up going to Starbucks together the next day, and from then on, they met up regularly, the pastor giving him a listening presence and helping him access choices for his life that he didn't know he had. And one day, several months later, while they were in the car, the guy said to Pastor McBride, "Hey, I wanted to thank you." And the pastor said, "For what?" And the man said, "For this, whatever this is that we do together." The man didn't have language to describe support or pastoral care, but he knew his relationship with that pastor was changing his life bit by bit. As McBride explained it, hope had been in his neighborhood for 2 years, but it didn't reach him until I crossed the street that day. This congregation has been spreading a similar kind of hope right here in Silver Spring for 70 years. UUCSS has brought hope across all manner of barriers over the years, as have so many other houses of faith and organizations that share our values. When UUCSS began 7 decades ago, its 13 original members had the courage to hope for a community free from the limits of McCarthyism and orthodoxy, and they created a church dedicated to freedom of belief and the right to conscience. UUCSS has brought hope in the form of food to nonprofits that serve those experiencing hunger and homelessness, like So Others Might Eat. UUCSS brings hope in the form of relationship every time friendships form among us, every time a ride is given or a meal is delivered or a call is made to check up on someone and how they're doing. Just yesterday, people began organizing to make sure everyone here at UUCSS who wants an invitation to Thanksgiving dinner at another friend or member's house gets one. And in the last year, UUCSS has helped reach the Tanai family, who this church has sponsored for almost the last year as they settle into their new lives here in the United States. UUCSS and plenty of other organizations give me the courage to hope, both when things are challenging in my own life and here in our local community. But in a country where so many hard things keep happening, when everything feels so darn urgent all the time, in a world with such intractable conflict, hope can feel naive at best and dangerous at worst. The old saying goes that we should think globally, act locally. But as the pandemic showed us, systemic problems can frustrate even the best local rules and policies. Local efforts matter, and together they can make a big impact. But there are some problems that local work just cannot touch. Climate change, threats to democracy, the war in the Ukraine, any one of these can make it hard not to feel hopeless sometimes. I know elections, and especially elections with results different than the ones we've hoped for, can make people feel hopeless too. Afrofuturist and author of Emergent Strategy, Adrienne Marie Brown, has written about what she does when she feels hopeless. She says, "When I feel hopeless, it usually means my attention is on things I cannot touch. When I bring my attention to the people and places I can touch, can shape and be shaped by, my life fills with meaning, connection, joy, and transformation." When I first read her words, I thought they were just another way of saying think globally, act locally. But I think it goes beyond that. If we find ourselves feeling hopeless about the big problems, and hopelessness happens when we're focused on things we can't touch, maybe we try and find a way to help shape the work on those big problems. Maybe one way to deal with hopelessness is to find partners to help extend the reach of our attention, our time, our energy, our money, even that far. Many of us already support organizations whose missions align with our liberal religious values at a big scale. Planned Parenthood, Amnesty International, Greenpeace, the list goes on. One organization many UUs are not necessarily familiar with, but whose work is vital, is called UUs for Social Justice, or UUSJ for short. In brief, UUSJ focuses on promoting UU values through federal level advocacy and lobbying. Led in large part by Executive Director Pablo de Jesus, UUSJ strategically selects issues that are moving in Congress and arranges meetings with congressional staff so that UUs can talk directly to Congress. UUSJ also offers workshops, webinars, lectures, organizes witnessing and advocacy events. I began serving on the board of UUSJ in August, and about 2 weeks ago, I got to observe a conversation where UUs from the state of Maine spoke with staff members of Senator Susan Collins. They were urging her to support the Afghan Adjustment Act, a bipartisan bill that would provide a pathway to permanent residence for Afghans who fled to this country and are working to rebuild their lives. One of the reasons I agreed to serve on that board was that being part of UUSJ, contributing to it, helps me feel like I'm part of helping to address the big problems in however small a way. I hope everyone here and now today has a way that you feel like you are contributing to the big issues that impact our shared life. If you're interested in learning more about UUSJ, you can go to uusj.net, become a member, and learn how you can contribute your time and energy and money to promote UU values at the federal level. I know the upcoming elections in November are a source of worry for many of us. So whatever it is that helps you feel part of that which is bigger than you, whatever helps you find the courage to hope in a world such as ours, may you connect with whatever that is more deeply and intentionally these next few weeks. Because as important as any election is, and they are important as all of our work to build a better world is, our hope must be bigger and stronger and deeper than the outcome of any single project or process or election. This is why, as Aurora Morales wrote in our reading, we must say these words when we lie down and when we rise up, when we go out and when we return, in times of mourning and in times of joy. This is why we must inscribe them on our doorposts, embroider them on our garments, tattoo them on our shoulders, teach them to our children, to our neighbors, our enemies, recite them in our sleep, here in the cruel shadow of empire, because another world is possible. The world we dream about, a world where rape is unimaginable, where war is a barely credible rumor, where greed and grotesque wealth in the face of deadly poverty is no more. But the path to get there is not straightforward or linear. It will include many thwarted plans, undermined efforts, lost elections, and still hope is humanity's gift from the gods. Or maybe instead it is, as Elie Wiesel says, hope is like peace. It is not a gift from God. It is a gift only we can give one another. Either way, we can have the courage to hope because it is something we can share. A gift we can bring to others, like Pastor McBride does every day in East Oakland, and like so many here do every day in our community. We hold on to this gift of hope by keeping our attention on the things and the people and the places we can touch, where meaning and connection, joy and transformation are happening. May it be so, and may we make it so. Amen.
I now invite all of us to make a financial offering to this congregation. Your offering today will help fuel the flame of this community and make our ministries and programs possible. But most importantly, making an offering will allow you to practice generosity, to contribute to this community, and do more good together than any of us can do alone. This morning's offering will be given to UUSJ, Unitarian Universalist for Social Justice, a nonprofit based in Washington, D.C. that focuses on promoting UU values through federal level advocacy and lobbying. UUSJ is primarily supported by its members, both individuals and congregations. Our donations today will go to support UUSJ's efforts in the areas of witness, education, and advocacy. Today, the organization is more important than ever to defend democracy through advocating for fair elections, for racial, economic, and environmental justice, and stand as allies with people who are marginalized and disenfranchised. There are many ways to give your gift to UUCSS. If you are here in person, you can also place your offering in one of the offering plates as they're passed around during the music that will begin in just a moment. The offering will now be given and received with gratitude.
While Tamara Bowman makes her way up to give the announcements, I just want to lift up that song was written in a collaboration between Esther McBride and Michael Holmes. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Michael.
Hello. Good morning. My name is Tamara Bowman, and I'm a member of the board. My pronouns are she, her. Our church is not only the organization that puts together these services, we are a vibrant community of volunteers and staff, a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and a part of the global UU denomination. Today we have 3 announcements. A reminder, the Rainbow Alliance is having a bring your own picnic today, right after the church service, in the grassy area between the Sanctuary Building and Fellowship House. We will provide drinks and dessert, bring your own lunch, and a lawn chair. All are welcome. The weather is perfect. 2 Sundays from today is Remembrance Sunday. As people all over the world prepare to honor the dead in different ways, we will remember our ancestors and those in our families and communities who have died. Everyone is welcome to bring a picture or 2 of a friend or loved one you wish to honor to add to our altar. If you plan to join us on Zoom that day, please send a picture of someone whose memory you'd like to honor to minister@uucss.org by Wednesday, October 26th. Our 3rd and final announcement is about the memorial service in memory of Nick Archambault, who grew up in this congregation and died last July. Those who knew Nick will remember him for his creative mind, deeply caring nature, rebellious spirit, and offbeat sense of humor. Independent and tenacious, Nick stood firm in his beliefs and never allowed himself to be put in a box. He was a remarkable person who will be missed immensely. Reverend Kristin will officiate the service in celebration and memory of the life on Saturday, November 12th at 2 p.m. here in the sanctuary. I know his family, and especially his mother, Carrie, will appreciate seeing UUCSS members at the service. An email with more details will be shared with the congregation this week. Thank you.
Please join me in the words of chalice extinguishing on the screen. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Now it's time for our closing hymn, number 1015 in the Teal Songbook, I Know I Can. We have changed 2 words to be more gender expansive with our language. We are replacing the word sister with sibling and brother with cousin. Let's rise in body and spirit and join in singing together.
When we sing together, it feels good.
Yeah, me too.
It's okay, up to you.
Though days be dark with storms and burdens weigh my heart, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. When sorrow leads
As Reinhold Niebuhr wrote, nothing worth doing is completed in our lifetime. Therefore, we are saved by hope. Nothing true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Therefore, we are saved by faith. Nothing we do, however virtuous, can be accomplished alone. Therefore, we are saved by love. No virtuous act is quite as virtuous from the standpoint of our friend or foe as from our own. Therefore, we are saved by the final form of love, which is forgiveness. Our worship now has ended, and our service begins.